Waterbury, Connecticut, the city where I grew up. I was the second oldest of 6 kids. I lived in a small apartment and shared a bedroom with my older brother. It was home. Growing up, I wasn't lonely, but yet for some reason, I always felt so isolated. I had friends, but when everyone would meet up to go play soccer or video games, I was sitting around, hounded by this feeling that I was never really good at anything. Moving up into high school, I started to really grow away from people, and I started to find most of my enjoyment online. I started to discover YouTube, and I remember I'd spend hours just watching video after video from all my favorite channels, and seeing how these regular people just like me were making videos and finding a community for themselves was inspiring. And so I begged my mom for a couple $100 to buy me a decent camera and started to make my own videos. Now, at a time where pranks were at an all-time high in popularity, people absolutely loved them. They wanted more. And so I kept posting videos.
Sharif's main goal was to entertain people. He wanted to see people's reactions to the videos that he made, or if he found something cool on the internet, he wanted people to get a kick out of it.
I mean, I would see Sharif at basketball games with his camcorder. Seemed like he had a little bit of a following.
And so as time went on, I started becoming more known throughout my school and gained a surprising amount of support from my peers. I remember people used to help promote my videos by wearing flyers on their shirts. And then sometimes I'd walk in the hallways and be greeted by people I've never met before. And it was the little things like that that felt welcoming and made me feel like I belonged. But then things at home started to get tough. My parents started fighting, and me and my siblings were always caught in the middle of their divorce. Then in school, I started to notice I couldn't form any real connections with people outside of them just watching my videos. I knew my videos could make people laugh, but it seems like that was just about it. I would leave school depressed just to get home and not even be able to edit without hearing my parents screaming all day. All the things I actually cared about became so much harder to focus on. So when it came to school, I really didn't care anymore.
You know, Sharif struggled to stay focused. He slept a lot in class. You know, he really had no direction in terms of his academics or his schoolwork.
My parents eventually separating left my family struggling to get back on our feet. We had no car and barely any money. Small comforts I took for granted weren't there anymore, and wearing the same clothes 5 days a week became a regular. But none of that really mattered to me when I was out making videos. Filming was the one thing that got me away from all my troubles. So I filmed as much as I could. I started to upload more than I ever did before, and things were going pretty good.
Is this your friend or something?
I was gaining more of a following online. And it was around this time I met a special friend through YouTube, Tim. And who knew meeting some random person online would benefit me so much? My friend Tim became a mentor, and finally having that reliable person I was able to go to gave me a sense of hope, even when I was still struggling in high school and had to take a whole 5th year just to graduate. So whether it was long phone calls or taking trips to meet in person, the friendship I made with Tim got me through a lot. And with Tim's guidance, I started to really feel myself mature as a person. But it just felt like the more I was maturing, my YouTube channel wasn't maturing with me. I was a 5th year senior, barely passing any of my classes, and I thought to myself, what am I gonna do for the rest of my life? Keep pranking people? So I stopped making videos. After a lengthy run, I finally finished high school, which felt like a huge accomplishment at the time. But then I was out in the real world, and not having any sort of goals anymore, I quickly found myself in a slump. I was lazy, and I started working dead-end jobs just to have some money in my pockets. I had no idea where my life was going. So without having YouTube there anymore, I started to spend most of my time watching movies. And the more I kept watching, I found myself forgetting about the world around me. I wouldn't just be watching, but examining. I started studying the stories, inspecting the color palettes, looking at specific shots, and every other small detail. These films, these stories, really lifted me up when I needed it, and I wanted to give that back to others. So I went back to YouTube with the new mindset: tell stories. I started this idea where I'd go up to someone and ask for their advice or opinion on something, and then I'd go on and give them some ridiculous situation I'm in. You know, something with a lot of twists and turns, usually something really hard to solve. And then the amusement really comes as you see these random strangers trying to help me.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can't. Hi.
And at this point, I felt like I found that sweet spot. I got to share my love of storytelling, continue my YouTube channel, and my viewers enjoyed it just as much as I did. I felt growth. I had momentum for the first time in a very long time, and I really needed to keep it. So, with the help of Tim, the search began to get me to a place where I could keep growing. I never thought college was going to be a part of my journey, but after figuring out where I wanted to take my life, I knew film school had to be my next step. I'm at a place where I'm finally feeling like myself. I'm surrounded by people I can learn from, and I'm making friends with people who will jump at the chance to work together and help each other out. Now I have the opportunity to sharpen my skills as I learn the process of crafting a story for film. Action.
I think that there's a part of Sharif that might say, I'm kind of surprised that I'm in the position I'm in, but I think the sky's the limit. I think he's just in the very beginning of what's a very long journey.
I think that, you know, he's found direction in life.
For once in a very long time, I can say I feel good knowing that I have a purpose and I have a direction for where I'm going. My name is Sharif Suhail, and I'm finding my path as a filmmaker.